appreciated the task that they achieved far more when I'd taken my small part in flying P-Poxy. Because believe you me, in peacetime, in daylight, and not being shot at, it was scary enough. How they ever managed it, I will never know. As you know, there were 19 aircraft involved, 8 of which never returned, and we lost 53 aircrew. Let's not forget, when we're talking about the dam busters, it was a marvellous achievement. But while we give our thoughts to those that lost their lives, let's also give a thought to the 50-odd thousand aircrew that also lost their lives. Out of 126,000 aircrew in Bomber Command, nearly 50% were lost. So when we offer our prayers and our thoughts, let's not just dedicate this small service to the dam busters, but to the whole of Bomber Command.
It was very early in Eric's life. At the age of 11, he had this burning ambition to fly. With determination, saving all his pocket money for weeks, he took a pleasure flight in a Fox Moth from this beach in Cleethorpes. The beach being local to his home at number 10 Oliver Street, and his school, Elliston School for Boys. He left school at the age of 14, leaving Cleethorpes far behind at the age of 18. A boyhood dream to fly became reality. Without any educational qualifications, he managed to pass the pilot's interviews for the RAF. At first attending induction training at Torquay, then practical flight training in Canada, far away from the troubled skies of Europe.
Basic on Tiger Moths for roughly 80 hours or so, and then around about 140 hours on Avro Ansons, to graduating as a sergeant pilot in February 1944. So I didn't actually handle the Lancaster as a pilot, would you believe, until I got my chance in the filming. I didn't get one of the prestigious roles in the beginning, and like many more pilots on the station, was disappointed. But when one of them had to leave near the end, I was fortunate enough to get the treasured post. Because everybody thinks that you must have vast experience to fly this aeroplane. When I got the opportunity, Flight Lieutenant Souter, who was in charge of the flying side, he took me for my checkout So I did 20 minutes duel in the Lancaster before I was sent off with my crew. On takeoff, you check everything's okay, you clear to roll, you get a swing on takeoff which you have to correct. You can't steer it like you steer a car. You lead with a port throttle to correct the swing, and as you get your speed increases, you get full rudder control, then you can bring all the power up. When you reach that stage, your engineer has his hands behind the throttles, full power. This is a book which the ATA, the Air Transport Auxiliary pilots, are used to collect and deliver. This book was all they had to fly the Lancaster. They'd arrive to pick up the aircraft, be handed this, and that told them all they needed to know. Now, can you imagine flying 30-ton of aeroplane on your own with no instruction apart from that little book of about 40 pages?
From this little book with a big heart to Eric's recorded flying history. A few flying mistakes to commendations. Such entries are in green. This one relates to a split-second decision that saved the plane from major accident. Leisure time flying the Tiger Moth must have been real fun. The entries relating to the Dam Busters film. What unique memories to have. Its completion of 5,000 flying hours, celebrated by his senior officers and members of his crew. 7,300 Lancasters were built at an average cost of £50,000. 61 RAF squadrons were equipped with the Lancaster bomber. Most of the airfield situated in East Anglia and Lincolnshire. A total of 2,800,000 tons of bombs were dropped on Germany during the Second World War. An estimate of 600,000 German civilians and 55,000 aircrew out of a force of 126,000 lost their lives during the bombing campaign. Woodall Spa is home to the most famous squadron, 617, responsible for the nighttime raid on the dams of the Ruhr Valley, led by Wing Commander Guy Gibson. The film Dam Busters made the squadron world famous. We have many memorials to this event, like this striking stained glass window in Ely Cathedral. Today I saw the flag of England fluttering from a mast. It waved in recognition to glories of the past. It beckoned to the future and seemed to say out loud, "If you should be an Englishman, look up, my son, be proud."
Having flown the Lancaster in the film, flown tight formation at very low level, it was quite frightening at times, and it made you realise even more, or should I say wonder how on earth those chaps could do that in the dark while being shot at. I mean, the film was a picnic by comparison, but even that was exciting enough.
Yeah. What do you think to the memorial they've given?
The memorial is absolutely brilliant. It's such a goddamn shame that we had to wait all those years, and then we had to rely on public subscription. And if I may be so bold, simply because we had a fabulous service, we had an armed force which suffered higher casualties than anybody. They were all heroes during the war. We had a leader who thought and said what a good job everybody was doing. And then when everything was over, the very same man backs down and blames all the horrible bombing of places like Dresden, etc., not on himself but on Bomber Harris. And for the sake of politics and not to upset the Germans, that's why there was no campaign medals, no memorial, nothing to remember the Bomber Boys by. It needed the public outcry over what, all these years, 70 years, to get justice.